Hello. So let's talk a little bit about this game, ladies and gentlemen. So there is a lot to talk about. Of course, we had a ton of chances. We could have scored a lot of goals. Ultimately, the game ended as a 4-1 victory for us, which could have been a 5-1 victory with Leroy Sané's goal, quote-unquote, goal in the last minute not being counted. But the thing that I want to talk about is just the team itself, because there are a lot of players in our team currently that are struggling. And so just from that perspective, there are players that are struggling, and I kind of want to highlight them because I thought they played really well today. Now, the first one I want to mention is Joshua Kimmich. Joshua Kimmich obviously has had a really tough time these last 2 months or so. Even last game when he came back, I didn't think he was that great. Today, however, everything ran through him, and that just shows you, yeah, when this kid, I mean, he's still a kid, he's older than me. I think he's like a year older than me, but when this kid, I'm still calling him a kid, all right? But so when this kid is on fire, when he's like confident, once he can just focus on his football, he is a different gravy. He's a different level. He looks superb. He plays superb. He acts superb. He is a leader on the pitch, and honestly, he's one of my favorite players of all time. It's really that simple. I know I typically always say I don't really like the Bayern team currently as a whole. There are only like 2 players that I like genuinely like. Everyone else I'm just kind of neutral on. But Kimmich is one of those 2 players. If you have watched my channel for a while, you would know who the other player is. But I thought Kimmich was exceptional today. I thought you could really tell, he was the most pressed player, but you wouldn't notice that. Because teams, they always try and pinpoint Kimmich to press, because quite frankly, he runs our midfield, but he is getting better and better at evading that press. So I was happy. I liked what I saw. I want to see more of that, especially now that we're heading into, the critical phase of the year, if you want to call it that. We know we're already out of the one cup, but now we're still in another cup, the Champions League, of course. So what I want to see is our team slowly gel, so that once we get to the Champions League game, we're going to look pretty swell. With that said, next player that I want to talk about is another midfielder. Shockingly enough, and I think most people know who I'm going to talk about, and it's Tolisso. Now, here's the thing. I've never been an anti-Tolisso fan, because there are a lot of people out there that really dislike him, and I don't understand why. Yeah, as if like him being injured and then him trying to find form is his fault. It's you could make that argument with Coman, of course, but with Tolisso, it's more so that he gets injuries where he's out for a long time, whereas Coman gets a lot of like small niggling injuries. And I don't think it's his fault at all that he gets injured. You could say, well, he's always injured, so he should be getting more used to finding his form quicker. I don't like that argument. But I get why people have a distaste, for a lack of a better term, a distaste. I'm not one of those people. I'm quite neutral on him either way. Whether he extends or not, I don't really mind. I think like his time at Bayern has been mixed, sure. But I think if I look back at it as a whole, I think it's been more positive than negative. So for me, his purchase was a good purchase. Now, of course, one argument that can be made is, well, we spent, 38 on him, 38 million, I think it was, so he is one of our most expensive players. But I feel like that just says a lot about the players that we've bought recently. Like if you look at all the players that we bought recently, like majority of them are record signings for us, or are, in that 40-ish bracket, which is fine. Like, that's fine. We've got the money to spend, which we haven't always done so, but we are adjusting to the times, quote unquote. Like, even our wage structure is increasing every year, which obviously is natural, but even that is increasing every year. And just so from that perspective, we're just adjusting to the market, and the market adjusts to you, and you adjust to the time, and the times adjust to you, basically. Now, Tolisso could have had a hat-trick today, honestly, could have had a hat-trick today. Didn't. Alright, fair enough. But it is what it is. Now, there's one other player that I kind of want to talk about, and that is Pavard. Pavard, he's been a little unfortunate, for the lack of a better term. He's not in the fact that he hasn't been playing. He's been playing a lot. But he's been unfortunate with the fact that, like, he thinks very highly of himself. If you've seen his interviews, he's like, we don't need a Hakimi, when they've got me. In that kind of phrasing, he's been having interviews where he basically said something along those lines. And I get it, but he's had a very poor season this far, with like some good games sprinkled in between here and there. Today, I thought he had a very good game as well. But the thing is, Pavard has the Tolisso problem. where they have good games here and there, but because they don't do it week in, week out like other players in our team, like for example, I'll give you an example, Lucas Hernandez, Joshua Kimmich, 9 times out of 10, Thomas Müller, 9 times out of 10, these players very rarely have an off day, whereas the likes of Pavard, Tolisso, you could make the argument of Gnabry as well. They are either hot or they're cold, and Pavard has the issue that he's one of those players where you either get amazing things from him or you get like borderline insulting things from him. And for me, it's a case of, well, it's unfortunate because even if you have a good game, people always think first and foremost of your bad games because they just happen as often as your good game. So you can't really win. As stupid as it sounds, he can't win. There's no way he can win here. So it's one of those situations. But I really like this performance. Again, I'm hoping 2022, all 3 of those can kick off. Can continue performing again to the level, to the best ability. Kimmich, Pavard, and Tolisso. In terms of the rest of the team, Thomas Müller. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Thomas Müller. Always have been. Probably always will be. Superb performance again. More doesn't need to be said about him. Gnabry, I thought, had a mediocre performance, honestly. I know he got a goal at the end, but I thought, like, for the most part, he was pretty invisible for a lack of... I know I keep saying for a lack of better term, but no, he was invisible. Sané was the odd one, because Sané, he was good this game, but, like, his strategy was just get the ball and shoot. Like, literally, that was all it was. Get the ball and shoot. And I'm not going to complain about that, but, like, when it works, it looks great. When it doesn't work, it's like, come on, really? There's so much you could have done, but instead you just get the ball and you shoot. But hey, I ain't complaining too much about that. Next up, let's talk Coman. A little frustrating. Really could have scored. Really should have scored. That one chance where we countered and we just flipped it up. I haven't seen a replay of it, but I think Lewandowski might have gotten in his way. But again, I haven't seen a replay, so I don't know whether that was actually the case or not. Who else was playing? Sula, I thought, has been solid. Just solid. Like, not amazing, not bad, just solid. Next up, let's see. Neuer, there was this one weird interaction with Neuer and Lucas Hernandez where, like, Lucas Hernandez cleared the ball and, like, Neuer kind of ran into him. And I was like, if he gets injured because of that, that's going to be terrible. But now, Lucas Hernandez seemed to be fine. Got up relatively quickly and was like, yeah, I'm back, okay. So I'm like, okay, good. Nothing's happened from that. Thomas Müller's goal today was the 100th goal that we scored under Nagelsmann, according to the commentator of the game that I was watching. So that's positive. As well as Thomas Müller and Gerd Müller have now combined to score 500 goals. I think Müller is at 165 or something like that, and like, I don't know actually. I don't know the exact figures, but I know that combined they've now, with both Gerd Müller and Thomas Müller, have now scored 500 goals in the Bundesliga. So that's fine. But yeah, just overall, the game easily could have scored a lot more goals, which is fine. Defensively, we looked good throughout the whole game until we got pushed, and once we got pushed, we kind of crumbled a little bit for a few minutes, spells here and there. So I do want to see that improve. Our defense has always been the thing that's been a sticking point since beginning of 2021, so a full year now. Under the previous manager and under the current one, and I'm still just like, I want the defense to be better. Obviously, second half you had Omar Richards come on, you've had Sabitzer come on, you've had Musiala come on, Wana come on. Who else came on? I think there was Upamecano came on, and we basically conceded immediately afterwards, so that was a little bit of a letdown. Musiala came on. Honestly, I don't know whether it's his fault or Sabitzer's fault, but we could have easily scored another goal. Again, a lot of wasted chances there, which is fine. I don't mind wasted chances, when we're winning 4-1. I do mind it when we were like losing 1-0. But yeah, Musiala, I'm obviously probably the biggest fan of Musiala, but he still has to perform better, quite frankly. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of Musiala, but he still has to perform better. He's doing quite well with the chances given, but he's also not 100% consistent yet. Vanna, he's slowly getting integrated into the team, which is nice to see. Obviously, now that we've got so many people out and so many people just coming back, this was the perfect chance for him to get, and I feel like he's taken it. Less spectacular today than in the previous games, but still a solid performance. Sabitzer has probably been a letdown of the season, honestly, but I still think, like, with enough time, enough care, and enough love, we're going to see the best out of him. So it's just a matter of waiting and waiting and waiting. And I feel like once he actually gets like a run of games, like 3-4 games where it's him playing, I think he's gonna look very, very good for us. But until then, that's still a ways away. I already talked about Upamecano. Basically, we conceded like a minute after he came on, so that was a bit disappointing, honestly. But yeah, our squad we're not all back yet, but like even if you just look at our squad today, it's still very packed, and I'm still very happy. So what I would like to see, obviously now we've got I think international games coming up. For me personally, what I would like to see is the likes of Lewandowski. Actually, not Lewandowski, no, but the likes of Müller, Süle, Pavard being given a rest. The reason why I wouldn't give Lewandowski a rest yet is because I want him to score. I want him to score, in the next game or whatnot, and then I'll give him like 1 game rest. I want everyone to be fresh, sharp. You couldn't make the argument, well, we just had a winter break, they should be ready and raring to go, but we also didn't really have many substitutions, so they basically had to play in week out without any breaks. So for me, what I would like to see is like the players being given a little bit more of a rest now, the ones that have played every single minute. And so from that perspective, that's kind of what I want to see, early February, so that like mid-February, once the Champions League resumes, we are ready and raring to go. But overall, happy performance. Not much I can complain about. If I had to give it like a rating or something, I'd probably say like as a whole the team did like a 8.5 out of 10. Very, very, very good performance in terms of just like controlling the game, creating chances, but then also a very big letdown in terms of converting chances and obviously not being able to keep a clean sheet. So for me, I know it's a 4-1 victory and I should be a lot more positive about it, but with the amount of chances that we actually missed, I'm also a little bit let down. So just from that perspective, I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. Very good game. Just a few little tweaks here and there, and we would be rising to a 9.5. I wouldn't say 10, but like we'd be rising. And we're not there yet, unfortunately, but we're getting closer, hopefully. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see all of you next one. Everyone, until then, have a nice day, peace out, and as always,